You ever think about quitting?
It's the combat of life hammering the snot out of you.
Well, stand by, dig in deep, and get ready to get fired up with us.
Welcome to the Team Never Quit Podcast, the #1 podcast that inspires you to fight on. I'm your host, David Rutherford, here with Mr. Never Quit himself, Marcus Luttrell.
Our mission is to help you embrace the suck of life, to teach you the values of working your ass off, and to interview the most hard-charging people on planet Earth.
We know life is hard. It's time for you to suck it up, Buttercup, and let us teach you to persevere in every environment imaginable by sharing real-world lessons learned by those who never quit. That's right. It's time, Marcus, for us to help them defeat the negative insurgency in their lives.
You fire me up. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's roll.
Let's roll. Marcus, I gotta tell you, brother, I think you know what's coming now. And there's a reason for it, though. It's not just ambiguous. It's not just because I live my life like this 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days. It's because I really believe that today is special, man. The guest that we have today, today's Team Never Quit podcast show is a special show. And for many, 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 many reasons, but in particular, because of your relationship on this one, brother.
Yep.
And so when I think about this and I prepare for this one and I think about all the different things that go through my mind and what I want to ask this guy, and I can't wait to hear his never quit story and his connection to you and his commitment to this country, man.
Knowing all the, being family and being part of his life and knowing everything that he's been through just with my time with him, there's no telling what we're going to hear.
I mean, it could be anything, really. Yeah. And you know, it could be a story from his childhood. It could be a story
from... Why not? Because anything story to somebody might be incredible story to somebody else.
Right. Our listener, the people that
That's the beauty about it, man. Yeah, we may focus on that one... Because think about it. It was like, what's your one never quit story, man? You know what? Me and you were only 40. We're gonna have some more cowboy.
We're gonna have a bunch.
I'm not done. You know what I'm talking about? I got a wife and kids that we gotta have some memories.
A bunch.
Sure, man. So that's the great part about a lot of these people when they come up with it, man. You could literally hear 50 never quit stories to somebody else.
Right.
You know, that's one of the deals where he's like, "Oh, it's just normal. I didn't even think about it like that." I'm like, "Well, that right there, someone is dealing with that."
It just ignited our listeners' heart to go pursue their never quit story.
You know what I'm talking about? Did I say that right?
You spot on. 100% no. And for the listeners that are just tuning in for the first time, listen, you're in for a treat because on the Team Never Quit podcast, Marcus and our mission, I'm David Rutherford, our mission is to inspire you to ignite the fire in your gut for you to get out there, face adversity, overcome obstacles, and go live out your greatest never quit story or stories in your life, man. That's what our mission in life is now. We've been there. We've had the never quit stories. And as Marcus just eloquently stated, we're going to have more in our future. But because of what we've seen and what we've done and what we've heard and the people that we surround ourselves with, we understand we have the never quit mindset. But it's our mission to teach you that mindset. Right, Marcus?
It's about...
All right, so listen, if you're coming back for more, we're so stoked that you're back listening. We love having you. Please help us spread the word. Tell everybody to go to our website. That's TNQpodcast.com or teamneverquit.com/podcast to go check out all the other shows that we have up online. You can also download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play. We're on every single different device out there. What we want you to do also, when you come on board, recognize that we're going to take you on this epic journey to help you learn this never quit attitude. We're going to introduce you to a great story from history about a great person or a great event. Then we're going to bring on one of our friends or people that we admire and respect or people that just all around knock us down on our butts because of their amazing never quit story. And then once we're done with that, guess what? The how-to, the nitty-gritty, you can find on TNQpodcast.com in the After Actions Report section. And that's where our guests explain the how-to, the nitty-gritty, the behind the curtain of how to execute their never quit mindset day in and day out as they overcome these amazing obstacles and adversity in their lives, which is what we're trying to teach you. So today's show, bud. today's show is a big one. And I feel, you know what? I just want to, before we even get started, I just want to thank you, Marcus, for all the amazing people that you've reached out that are in your lives to bring them onto this show to help not only our guests, but to help me, man. And today is one I'm really looking forward to.
It's my pleasure. Look, you've basically come to me and said, "Hey, we're gonna do something here with this podcast about never quitting. You got any ideas?" And I said, "Well, man, let's just start with people that I surround myself with. They're pretty good." There's no doubt. By the time you heard this a couple of times, that you know I am on the level with that, with most everything.
With most everything. And, your choice of late night cartoons, maybe we'll have some flexibility.
Yeah, I'm weird, man. And that's the beauty about it. Everyone who is really close or knows me knows that.
Yeah.
That's what I do love a lot of things about being in the public eye. And one of the one is my
your ability to touch people.
Well, my one-sided persona.
Yeah.
I went through all of that. I mean, I was, and I lived that life. I carried that.
And you did it as good as anybody else.
But before I was that, and after, I mean, like I like to say, I didn't step away. I wasn't godless or anything. Right. I just stepped away from.
You did what you had to do.
I loved being a team guy, man.
Right.
I'm not saying that team guys are godless. They know what. How do you explain that, man?
Well, let me try and sum it up for you. So, when you make the decision to move into that fraternity, into the brotherhood, you make a serious decision to do very serious things in this world, to do things that most people never want to do or could do because they simply don't want to have that perspective on life. What we've chosen to do is to go into that space. And in that space, we were fortified under a pressure, under a pain that helped us see the world in a very unique way. How's that?
That's what I was trying to say. that was my point, damn it. I couldn't get it out.
Well, let's get into this first. Let's get into the first historical person we're bringing on.
I wasn't paying attention to you, damn it. That's exactly what I was trying to say. I'm paying attention now. I'm reading about Sam Houston.
All right, so you just said it. Why don't you
see what he did, Wizard?
So why don't
Wizard's got that damn smirk on his face, so I knew he knew what was happening.
So our historical figure that we want to introduce that relates to our guest coming on because of so many different obvious personality traits, but most especially because their ability to never quit on the great state of Texas. Right?
And on top of everything else, and I know all the people that we have on the show are wonderful across the board, man, and our guest today is wonderful, and he's a Texan, and the guy we're talking about here is a proud Texan. As Texans, they're all going to get what I'm about to say right now. If you're not a Texan, you will not understand this at all. Okay,
I will help you understand. I am.
Right, you speak Texan.
I speak Texan now after being on the show and long enough and knowing you long.
The ridiculousness. Actually, there's something behind it.
Oh, there's. It's a whole dialogue.
I just didn't make this up. I'm this way for a reason, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, so one of them is Sam Houston. I mean, and Governor Perry and I'm allowed to say that, right?
Oh, yeah. He's coming on.
Yeah, all right. Dun, dun, dun. I'm still learning this whole I have no idea what's going on.
The setup is not
I have no responsibilities here whatsoever.
Our guest is Governor Perry, but we'll get to him because right now we want to talk about Sam Houston.
It's the Texas men, the men in Texas who do something for Texas that benefits all of us, man. We recognize that.
Right. In a big way,
Very well. Oh, man. Bigger than Texas, bigger than life. There's so much history in this state. That's why I love it, man. That's why I can never leave it. And we just talked about the superstition and the folklore. That comes from here, man.
Totally.
And I love it. And I can't wait to pass that on to my kids, man. It all started with these guys.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about Sam Houston, shall So Sam Houston is a guy originally from Tennessee, right? And he grew up, he was from Scotch-Irish descent. And they came in and they settled in
You can't say Tennessee without Texas.
Well,
is that what they like to say?
I guess that's what I just said. I mean, this is absolutely. You can't say Tennessee without Texas. In this case, in particular. So Sam Houston was an amazing guy. As he grew up, he ran away from home early. He became a Cherokee, an honorary Cherokee citizen, which is really cool. not only that, but he went in, he held office in Tennessee, moved all the way up under the guidance of Andrew Jackson, right? One of our presidents. He became governor of Tennessee. There's some amazing stories about him getting into a little bit of trouble here and there, but working his way through it, moving his way down to Texas and getting completely consumed with Texas becoming its own republic. And one of my favorite aspects of this guy is he was so Texan true and true. I mean, once he came down, I mean, he was one of the original founders, but it was his fight against Santa Anna, right? And after the Alamo, after the Texas Declaration of Independence, and after the Alamo debacle, I shouldn't say debacle, that was a great stand. It's not a debacle. They'll talk about never quit.
Depends on what side you're on.
Yeah.
You can say that, all right? Because you know what it...
Right. Right.
Debacle is a relative term.
Talk about never quit.
Right.
Well, anyways, in his pursuit after and the victory, raising those 1,500 men, and to go in the Battle of San Jacinto, right? Am I saying that right? San Jacinto.
What the hell just happened?
Did
I threw up a little bit. You see that flag on the wall, son?
I see. It says "Come and take it."
Yeah, that's the battle flag. That one right behind you is the big daddy of them all.
All right, I'm sure.
Don't ever.
My point is that this is a man. No matter what happened in his life, he was always dedicated to serving this country, right? He was dedicated to the great state of Texas. I mean, he was one of the founding fathers of Texas. He was, you could say, Marcus, could you
Absolutely.
legitimately say he was the founding father of Texas?
Right. One of them.
Yeah. And so what's remarkable about him is not only the fact that he's the only person in history that was not only the governor of two states, but also the president of his own republic, right? I mean, that's impressive in and of itself. But just his commitment, and also another crazy thing that I
do everything, family and faith.
Everything. He that's who he is. So when, tell me, Mark, when you're growing up and you're, going and learning about Texas history, how prominent of a role does Sam Houston play in that?
Do y'all have Florida history in school?
Not really.
No, not many states do that, right?
No, we do, but our Florida history.
No, you don't.
Our Florida history is like St. Augustine.
Texas history is an American history.
We got Ponce de Leon.
You ever see that flag down in my barn that says "Ain't Texas" and everything else?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? This is the only time I'm a Texan, and when I get a lot of grief from people who aren't Texans, are Americans. I am an American, damn it, proud of it. I am a Texan.
Through and through.
That's right.
One of the things I always love about when I go through all your picks back in, when you're in the teams and stuff, they're just strikingly always is that gigantic patch of Texas on every piece of kit that you have.
It's ridiculous, wasn't it?
It was ridiculous.
I remember getting out of the Hilux one time with my I just got there, right? So everything I had Texas flag. Well, you normally don't carry everything you have at the same time.
Right.
It did look kind of ridiculous, right?
Oh.
Hey, that thing saved my life, man.
Oh, heck yeah, it did.
Right?
Heck yeah, it did.
Now,
anyway,
man, look, there's so much history about Sam Houston and everything that he did, and the beauty about it, I grew up around here, so and in school to get on the history part, Texas history, you study that all up through grade school.
It's
absolutely,
an ongoing part of the
because Texas history, obviously, because of what happened down in here, it forms up and helps form the rest of the country. I mean, that's another reason why we're so proud of it. But with Sam Houston, the way he fought in the military, and then a great general, a great one, man, and then you could tell a lot about him because his men went against him sometimes, all of that,
right. But he stayed true.
Sure, man.
He
you don't
stayed
see
true.
it. That's the good part about it because you can fold at any point in time, and it just gets so hard. And people are saying this. The government's coming down saying, "Hey, what's going on? Why aren't you fighting?" He's like, "Hey, look, man, I'm not a politician right now. I'm the damn general. Stay out of my business.
Let me do what I'm good at."
Right? And look where we got it. Right? And I mean, there's so many things. I remember when they built the Sam Houston statue. Yeah, the statue. It's huge, man. It's awesome.
Hey.
I mean, you can see it forever. It's like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but a badass. Right? Because I'm educated by the state of Texas. I'm Huntsville, baby. I'm a Sam Houston State unit. You know what I mean?
Right.
We got the death row, everything. Every unit has a name. I went to the Sam Houston State unit. I had so much fun at college at Sam Houston State, man. I mean, I support. There's a couple other teams that I talk to, and everyone knows that. You've seen it on YouTube and everything like that, man. But I bleed orange and white.
Yeah.
I loved going to school there, man. I had the best. The guys I grew up with, we all went there.
Right.
So it was just
your crew.
Exactly, man. It was just it was the ongoing life of all around here. I grew up around. That's why I came back here.
Right.
And,
so the legacy, what you're saying is the legacy of Texas.
Some of the smartest people come out of that school, the criminal justice school, and just everything that came down from both sides of what he did for not only the state but the country, being in politics and being in the military, and showing that obviously did huge things, right? Great things that impacted everybody. But if you follow that rabbit's hole, man, it all boiled down to the little things.
Right. Well, it does. Every little decision that he makes and his pride in Texas and the desire never to quit, to make sure that the state thrived, that they didn't allow the external forces, the Mexican forces, to beat them down. They came back harder. They made sure that we
just got whipped at the Alamo. Man, that's one thing we do. How many times I said that, man? We get whipped.
We take a beating and come right on back.
It's not the win-loss column, Jack. You have to get rid of every one of us.
And that's perfect segue into who's coming on next. And this man he upholds that Sam Houston tradition. He upholds the proud Texas tradition. He upholds, most importantly, the beauty of being an American and what he represents, in terms of God, country, family, and friends, and loyalty. And what I'm so privileged is, Marcus, is that he's a close friend of you and what he did for you. So what do you say that we get Governor Perry on now? Marcus, you know what happens when I start getting this vibe inside my guts, man. It's like with that first time that you're jumping out of an airplane. It's like the first time that you're underwater, although not in an SDV, because that's sheer madness. This is something bigger and badder than everywhere, because it's all about that positivity that the Team Never Quit podcast brings. And today's guest, because of your relationship with him, because of the impact that he's had on this country and the great state of Texas. So without further ado, why don't you get the ball rolling, Marcus, with your good close friend?
Right. Honorable Governor Rick Perry of Texas. I'll introduce him like that, and then we'll start talking about why we really have him on here, because the Perry family, once they brought me in, put me in the direction I needed to go, I'm sitting right here right now because of this man. So he's got plenty of these stories, whichever one he wants to talk about. And then the beauty about it is, if it's one that I've been there for, I can throw my perspective on it, and this will be one of the greatest interviews we do, because it's personal. Governor
Perry, we'd first like to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule and day to come on the Team Never Quit podcast.
Well, I'm not only honored to be here. It's a great privilege to sit and talk to both of you. I'm situated in Fayette County, Texas at the moment, at a Whataburger at the corner of State Highway 71 and 237. So it's a good day to be in the country and getting ready for one of the great Texas treats of all time, and that's a Whataburger. So
as Texas boys, that we will plug Whataburger no matter if we're sponsored by them or not. Every show, if you want. That Bluebell ice cream and Buc-ee's. That's a Texas hat trick right there.
Sure. Hey, listen, those three. That's what we call a trifecta.
Yeah, that's our Texas hat trick.
We live kind of in a triangle between Giddings and LaGrange and Brenham. And man, I'll tell you what, Bluebell ice cream. There's none better. And what they went through, and you talk about a never quit story.
Right? Good Lord.
Right there is a great one for one of the most, I think, one of the great Texas brands, Bluebell ice cream. The Cruzies could have quit. They could have said, hey, you know what, this has been a good run, but they didn't. And Ed and Howard and Paul, all the Cruzies, man, what a great bunch of people and a great story.
I think we might have to get them on.
Dude, I love Bluebell ice cream. If y'all hear this commercial, I eat a pint of the Great Divide every night.
while he watches the superheroes cartoons.
Ask anybody who lives here. I eat a pint of Bluebell ice cream every night, the Great Divide, while I'm watching cartoons.
Well, I love it.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Ask anybody.
All right. So the first thing we need to do before we even get started is we need to have the Mad Minute. Now, the Mad Minute is something that Marcus and I and our executive producer, the Wizard, now affectionately called Blade, because he just impaled himself recently.
You ain't going to believe this story, brother.
It's awesome. We'll tell you later.
I had a chance to call you and tell you about what went down here yesterday. It's one of those stories. There's stitches involved.
All right. So the way the Mad Minute works, Governor Perry, is we're going to throw some questions. I'm going to throw some questions at, and the first thing that pops into your head, just go ahead and let it rip. We're going to do a little prefrontal cortex exercise here and get it going. All right. So are you ready, sir?
Let's go.
All right. Where'd you grow up?
Pine Creek, Texas.
What movie would you watch more than once?
Oh, man, Top Gun.
That's awesome.
Of course you would.
Of course you would.
You knew that one, dude.
Of course you would.
Why did I want him to say Navy SEALs?
I actually had that right here. Check. Yep, I got that one locked down.
All right, here you go. If you had to fight one, who would it be? Stallone or Schwarzenegger?
Oh, Schwarzenegger.
All right. Is Google more likely to save the world or destroy it?
That's a coin toss.
It is. It's both, isn't it? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's a coin toss.
Who's the person that you would love to have a bunch of beers with?
Man, that's a big and long, distinguished list of people. I can't just pick one. I don't want to have just one beer or just with one. Let's just
find a whole bunch of people and a whole bunch of beer.
Right.
Yeah.
Governor wants.
Start Team 3. Bring Team 3 over.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Here you go.
Right here. More women and beer for the men.
What's something that you're afraid of?
Snakes.
Use these 3 words in a sentence. Ready? All right. Pluto, Hillary Clinton, and scissors.
And scissors?
And scissors. This one stumps me.
Pluto is a long way from here, and Hillary Clinton's policies are a long way from reality. And we need to use a pair of scissors to cut that connection and get America back to reality.
All right. I love it. All right. Here you go. All right. When you become president for a day or a whole term, what's the first thing you would do?
I would announce that this country was going to get back to being very constitutionally focused, and that the states were again going to be respected the way the 10th Amendment actually directs us to respect the state's sovereignty.
That's a lot better than your answer, Marcus. Didn't you say that you would cause an international incident? Who said that? All right. Beatles, Rolling Stones, or Led Zeppelin?
Led Zeppelin.
I love you, Governor. All right. The world's best vacation destination?
Man, let's see. I got to think on a yacht in the Caribbean.
Oh, that's a nice place to be right there. All right.
Yeah.
If you could have any dream career other than what you're doing now, what would it be?
I'd probably be a rancher in
that sounds good.
A rancher on the Clear Fork of the Brazos River. That's kind of a dream.
Wow.
I did that once, and it was good.
That's cool. All right. Last one. What's your greatest achievement?
Being the father of 2 very capable children who didn't get on the front page of the newspaper before they were 21 years old.
Amen. Well, bless your heart for that. We love when people say
That's
that.
What I said. That's what I said.
Awesome. All right, so let's get. Go ahead, Governor.
Well, I was going to say, I know where we're headed with this is to share some of the never quit stories that happened in my life, and there's a number of them, and whether it was, I don't want to get too philosophical here, but the point is that almost everyone has these moments in life when they, whether life throws you a curveball, whether you just are at your wit's end, whether you put out your best effort, but you're still not getting the job done, and you can walk away from it. And that's for me, that's the great Marcus Luttrell stories. Here's a young man who could have stopped at a lot of different junctures in life, but he didn't. And I'm no psychiatrist, and I don't know what it is that drives an individual, but we all hit those places in life. I'm a 13-year-old boy working on getting my Eagle Scout. And you get distracted. You have a lot of things that happen to you, but you stick with it. And one of the reasons I've helped with scouting through the years is to be a mentor, to be the individual who puts their arm around a kid at 13, 14, or even 15 or 16 years old and say, hey, man, let me tell you why this is important for you to finish. And the signal that it sends to your future employer, that they're looking at you, and they know it as a young man, you followed a very specific guidebook and finished this long and arduous task. And if you did that at 13, 14, 15 years old, you probably still have those characteristics as an adult, and
Absolutely.
You're the kind of person that I want to hire to work with me. And when I finished up college, listen, I'm a charmed.
Governor, was there a story in your quest to get your Eagle Scout? I mean, when I asked Marcus what his never quit story was, I figured I'd have something from the battlefield, right? Some incredible task like maybe Red Wing or something else. But you know what? He told this amazing story about his brother putting jet skis in the water, and he walked away because he couldn't figure out how to get that the tow thing down. And so he left
the trailer.
So he left Morgan hanging. So is there a moment in your past where you remember, man, if I quit right now, or maybe you did quit and you learned a lesson as you were going for that Eagle Scout?
Yeah, I mean, and listen, the fact of the matter is most of these stories about never quitting aren't sexy. Most of these stories are about life, and they're about things that, and it's why those of us who still feel really called to be a part of this great country, and to fall in, to give support to maybe some faceless young man or woman somewhere who's struggling with life, and it would be easy for them to quit, and we give them that little bit of a pep talk. You put your arm around them. You give them that little push.
Right?
Yeah.
Fail in the open. That's what we do. Somebody can do that, like me, you. I mean, fail in the open and then have the strength to say, that's all right. Everybody does. I'll get back up and keep going.
You want to talk about failing in the open? How about being in a debate in a presidential deal, and you can't, because you're strung out. You can't remember your mother's maiden name, and yet by God, you're called to do your duty. And I could have pulled down the tent, went back to Texas, and said, I'm embarrassed myself, and I'm never gonna go. I'm just gonna go back, and I'm done with this. But everybody makes mistakes, and my point was, it's not how you perform every day that really matters. I mean, yeah, it's important, but if you want to see the measure of an individual, if you want to see the real character of an individual, let them fail, and let them fail in a big way, in a public way, and how do they respond to that? And I'll suggest to you that is a greater description of a person's character and who they are than being a winner every day, and you win the lottery every day, and every decision you make is the right one, and you get rich, and you marry the right woman, and the kids are smart and beautiful. Maybe not. The guys and gals that I admire most are people who you may not ever know, you may never see. It's a young Marine who has fought his battles mentally, physically.
I was with one just this past week.
Yeah, and seeing them get completely crushed up by life, by things that have happened, and they come back and they're stronger than they've ever been. And that's, those are the great stories that I like to be involved with and maybe play just some small role in, or just know that they're happening out there. But I've lived this blessed life. I don't get confused that I've, had any great hurdles that somehow or another were monumental. But I could have quit a lot of time in life. I could have quit before I got my Eagle Scout. When I finished my first phase of pilot training, I was dead last in the class. I couldn't, the instructor pilot and we talked past each other, and I mean, I think there were 30 kids left in our pilot training class when we had finished T-37s, which is the first part of it. And the only reason I wasn't dead last in the class is because there was a kid from Nigeria who they couldn't wash out.
Awesome.
He had been washed back 4 classes. But anyway, I could have quit, and nobody would have faulted me. And it's kind of like, hey, dude, man, maybe this wasn't what you were cut out to be. Maybe you weren't supposed to be a pilot. Obviously, you're ham-fisted, or you can't remember stuff, or it's whatever reason, this ain't working. But
was there somebody in particular in your life? Was there a teammate? Because one of the things we talk a lot about on the air is in those epic failures, Governor, in those moments of just catastrophe, in those moments where you feel like, all your power is gone, somebody steps into our lives. At least in my life, it's been amazing. My wife, the Admiral, my teammates, everybody around, somebody steps in. Who was that person in your life at that moment that stepped in and brought you back to success?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. There are people like that. Obviously, back in my scouting days, it was my old scoutmaster, the class of 1932, graduate of Texas A&M, who was part of Patton's Third Army.
Wow.
I mean, just a tough, disciplined man who kind of took me by the cuff and said, "Son, we're going to finish this, and you're gonna do this." But at that next juncture, the story I was telling, it was I made it to the next stage, to that primary training stage, and by the grace of God, I've had an instructor pilot. His name was Terry Skodak, and Terry Skodak was probably one of the most talented aviators I've ever been in my life. But more importantly, he was a great mentor and instructor. And he had the ability to communicate with me. And I went from dead last in the class. I think I graduated either 12th or 13th in my pilot training class. I mean, I could fly the wings off a T-38, and it was because this guy, he and I really gelled.
Bonded.
I mean, we communicated, we talked to each other, we bonded. He was able to relay the aviation tactics and the training and the touch that allowed me to really be a very talented pilot. And so those people all through life come along. And
the will to succeed too, right, Governor? The will. I mean, when he invested in you as a young man and really got behind you, and allowed you to feel, hey, yeah, I can do this. I can succeed. I can overcome. That gets inside you. For me, that's always been the pivotal moment.
They say that makes the best soldiers and the best pilots because you have the guys, obviously you want to be there.
Right.
Like you got somebody coming in, like, I want to be a pilot. And we spend most of our...
I want to fly.
You know what I mean? And they're like, I want to do this. We spend most of our time trying to get rid of them, which is understandable. You got to do that, man. But there's certain teachers who can look past that, right? And they're like, hey, I know we want to get rid of this guy, but I think I see something in here. Let me try it this way. And if you got guys who can teach people how to do something in multiple different directions, then those are the great ones, right?
Huge.
Because you don't really know anything until you can teach it, and you don't really learn anything until you have to teach it, right?
Yeah, that's a good observation. You know, a lot of the very highly the very highly trained areas of the world, whether it's on the military side or for that matter, whether it's on the business side, one of the tactics in the training is we want to test you at an early stage, because if you're going to fail, we want you to fail now and not when it really matters,
right?
Not when somebody's lives is on the line or when somebody's business is on the line. And so running off guys that are going to, you know, that very intense moment, when they need to be at their best, when every light is flashing in the cockpit, and we want that individual to be a cool cucumber and not to be you know, all frazzled and, you know, throw their hands up in the air at the moment when you need to be with both hands, you know, one on the stick and one on the throttle, and be thinking very clearly about what the next step's going to be and the next procedure that's going to be.
Life and death split decisions. Yeah,
it's true. Listen, it's true in life's daily events. I mean, when a tragic event occurs, you know, you want to flip on the switch and see the professional coming out. I mean, I've watched Marcus on a number of occasions when something has occurred, someone's gotten hurt, and it was fascinating for me to see the professional step into, you know, it's not just the young man who's my friend. This is the professional that's been highly trained in either medical or self-defense or what have you. And I've seen that in a few flashes, a few moments, and that is priceless training. And that's exactly why we train. We, you know, think about the Corps Cadets at Texas A&M. It is there as a place where you are vetted to find out whether or not you're going to be capable to be in the military to handle that, or for that matter, maybe you're not going to go in the military, but to train you to be disciplined in life as life's challenges come along. And that goes back to the never quit mentality. It's you know, and it's really fascinating. I think people, some people are born with some amount of that focus and discipline, and then there's some amount of it that from the environment that they're in, and from the individuals that are there that are mentoring you, helping you, training you, being a role model for you. So for me, it's a combination of them. Yeah, you know, I think I was probably born
Who was the biggest influence in your life then that taught you that never quit mentality? Really, that looked at you and said, you know, whether it was, you know, whatever, you know, context or experience it was, looked at it and said, you're not giving up. Get back in the fight. Who was that person for you, Governor?
Well, there's been a number of them. You know, as I go back, my Scoutmaster was one of them. My mother was one of them.
Awesome.
Listen, I mean, there were a number of times when, you know, sitting on the edge of the kitchen counter, and she gave me a little instruction about, listen, you know, you're gonna finish this project. You're gonna do this. Certainly, that was the case with my son and Anita. You know, mothers may play the singular most important role in that whole attitude that's out there.
Amen.
And
my mom, my mom was a 2-time state champion tennis player in Michigan, Governor, and so she taught me how to throw a football. She taught me how to hit a tennis ball, how to kick a soccer ball. And I remember when I was a kid playing Pop Warner football, and I'd come off, I'd get sacked or something, and I'd have my head down in the dumps. I'd look up in the stand, and she'd give me that face, like, get your butt back in that game.
You don't want to disappoint mom, right?
Never.
No, anybody but mom.
Yes.
You never hear the end of it.
There was another fellow by the name of George Schriever. George has passed away now, but George was a senior at Texas A&M when I was a freshman. I lived next door to him. And he was always, I never had a big brother. I never had a brother at all. And he played that role of a big brother. He kind of took me under wing. And as a matter of fact, I remember as I got to Texas A&M, my first day there, I went over and got my hair all cut off. And my father and George Schriever were standing under an old oak tree as we were getting brought in. We were standing in formation and starting to kind of get the first taste of being a freshman in the Corps of Cadets. and George, I didn't know about this conversation until years later, but my father was standing by George, and George was 6'4", big old tall drink of water. My dad's no small guy, and Dad had his Stetson hat on, which he always wore and still does, and leaned over to George Schriever and says, "Schriever, make a man out of him." And
I love it.
Here we go.
So,
Here we go.
And,
Here come the beatdowns.
And here's a fascinating, kind of the rest of the story. Not only did I live next door to him, literally he would beat on the wall, and I'd run around the corner as a young freshman, and he would have various jobs and things for me to do and tasks and what have you. Everything from shining his brass to shining his shoes to seeing him to sleep at night. I mean, it was a fascinating 9 months as a freshman in the Corps of Cadets. But after I finished pilot training and I ended up getting my assignment to fly C-130s, George was just coming back from 2 tours of Vietnam as a pilot in the theater over there. And he ended up in the C-130 TAC Airlift Squadron that I was in, and we became aircraft commander and co-pilot on a hard-crewed aircraft. And so we flew together for almost a year until I started my upgrade training to move over to the left seat. But he was a guy that never gave up on me. He was a guy that basically saw something.
That's priceless training right there.
And so these mentors in life are incredibly important. And it's one of the reasons that Marcus and Morgan, Clint Bruce would carry the load, that they play such an important role in this entire country, because we've been at war now for over a decade, and we got a lot of kids that are wounded, and a lot of times we don't see how they're wounded. They're mental and psychological wounds that are going to take a long time to heal. And I'm quite a critic of our federal government and the Veterans Administration. I think they have failed miserably. Taking care of these kids. And so there's a place for us. There's these thousands of charitable groups out there. Some of them, I think most of them all started with good hearts.
Sure,
but,
yeah.
The fact is there aren't that many that are just really doing a jam-up job. There's a few. I mean, I've helped with a group called Military Warriors Support Foundation, and gives homes to kids. But
love it.
The Lone Survivor Foundation. I mean, there are a number of them that do a really good job. But the fact is, you don't have to belong to a charitable organization to help.
They're serving everywhere.
I mean, you never stopped. The minute even while you were governor, and taking care of all the veterans and even the active duty, especially from Texas, and me. I mean, most people don't realize that I was hiding under the roof of the governor mansion for as long as I was, getting healed up and haired over before you and Lady Perry released me out into the wild. But and even then, they stepped down from being governor to run for president of the United States, and then you're still out there hustling. I know you're doing something right now, and then you're not at home right now, and then all the other organizations and charitable events that you do, it's a nonstop deal. And for guys like you, I think that what we were talking about, people like to hide their failures. We don't do that. We can't fail in the open, right? We have to, because of our job description and the people that we are. And you back it all the way up to how we were raised. Just started getting the hard stuff early, getting beat down, and it was the little failures that we had that led to, you learn. And that way, when we got into situations when you're flying an aircraft or you're in a gunfight or something like that, and you do get hit, man, they can't take you down that far, because you've walked the ladder. The steps on the ladder we walk up are they're pretty tight together. People ask all the time, what drives that? And I'm like, well, what doesn't drive it? I mean, it's just people like to label themselves like, well, this, I'm part of this and part of that, man. Once you absorb something, you and I, the reason we get along so well, that's just the way it is.
Become it.
Yeah, exactly. That's who you are, man. It's not what I do.
Part about who your DNA is. Governor, one thing I want to ask you, and everything that I've heard about you and read about you and followed you and what Marcus and Mel have told me about you, which is amazing, wonderful, blessed stuff.
That's a lie. I never said anything good about that.
I want to know, why do you want to serve as much as you do? I mean, what's the drive behind? I mean, you come off the biggest stage in the world and you didn't win the presidency, but you're right back at it. You're right in the grind. What drives you to want to keep serving?
I can't speak for everyone. I can only address my life's experiences about this, and I'm very confident. I know exactly why I'm still on the field, if you will. I'm still out there in the arena, and it's because I came from a family that taught me, and not only taught me, they also showed me by how they lived their lives that public service is a very important part of being a citizen of this country. And that none of us got to this place by ourselves. That there were people who came before us that either knocked down forests or cleared paths, or physically and literally. And so my dad was an old B-17 tail gunner in World War II.
Wow.
He
Awesome.
expected his son to serve this country. My dad was on the school board. My dad was a county commissioner for 28 years. And it was about giving back to your country, to your state, in his case, to his county that he lived in. And we were multiple generations of people who had done that. My great-great-grandfather was, actually three greats back, who was also a county judge in Haskell County. He had been a state representative, and he left Trinity County in 1862 to go be a part of M Company Texas Infantry, which is part of Hood's Brigade.
Wow.
So these
amazing.
are people who, you can, and I tell kids on a regular basis, listen, you don't have to join military service. You pick one. Marine Corps.
You can serve anyway.
Peace Corps, or anything in between. Find your place to give back. But that's what drives me. America is great, and America will be great in the future because there are enough of our citizens that understand the concept of public service and giving back. And the greatest gift that you have for your country is to find a place where you can volunteer and give back.
Hey, look, bottom line boils down to you're happy. Like when I came into the house and y'all started taking care of me. I mean, you kind of got to look at everybody who does a life of public service, man. They're just happy. You see them. They truly are. And
it's an ugly business.
Right. I mean, you could. And that's the fighter part of it. See, you call you a fighter, a warrior, an operator, a soldier, whatever the labels, however far back they go. Basically, you're just a good man, right? And your service to what provides that, and ultimately to our women. And then you set me in the direction that I mean, all these foundations, the charitable work, everything we get out to get up and just give back to everybody who gave to me and my family. I learned that from y'all. So, I mean,
that's awesome.
Was that not? I don't know how that's not clear. I came from being a straight up frogman. I didn't know any of that, man. And as I was recouping and getting back on my feet, and we've been through some dark times together, brother. And now look at us. I mean, you ran for president, and I got a family now, a wife. Right? We're going again.
I didn't get enough of it the first time, man. I wanted to get me some of that 2 times.
Man, you know us Texas boys, man, we just like to get hit in the face. You know what I'm talking about? Like, we go in expecting pain.
I just kind of wipe that blood off my nose and run in that wall again. But
you know what? Come get some. You're going to have to whip me every time you see me.
Holy cow. Well, listen, Governor, that ends this segment of the Team Never Quit podcast. We're so thankful, and really appreciative of all your service, your influence. I'm particularly thankful that you helped save my brother's life and you help put him on this road to influencing people in a positive way. So we just can't thank you enough for out of your day and suspending that luxurious Whataburger that's in your right hand right now for talking to us, and just thank you so much. And we're looking forward to having you on the After Actions Report here in a second. So God bless you, Governor. Thank you.
Hey, thank you guys, and Godspeed, and know that the road goes on forever, and as our old buddy said, the party never ends.
That's it.
Amen. Amen. All right. I mean, sitting there eating a Whataburger,
right?
Dropping knowledge.
That's actually a lot more common than you think. Okay.
No. What I'm saying, that's what
I could really go for one right now.
I'm hungry right now.
Texas.
But no, my point is that in the midst of him doing just an ordinary thing, the man has so much depth to him that he can help us understand that commitment that he has to this country. His ability.
I'll tell you, man, you know why he can do that? Because it's as natural as eating, right? I mean, it's who he is. It's part of it. It's just
legitimate.
I mean, sit and focus and read a PowerPoint or something like that. Tell you how to be a decent human being.
No, it's so ingrained in who the man is. I mean, I'm blown away by just how he talks about the influence from the Scouts and all, and the influence from his parents, and just this long-term commitment, and God as well too, and being on that huge stage that he was recently on, and his ability to keep going back because of how much he believes in this. I mean, that's powerful stuff, man.
Right? I mean, look. We're bringing him on here, and it's special to come on here, because most people, when they listen, I swear I do not think about it like this. He's a presidential candidate. I respect that part of it, and I think I've been clear about why I respect all things if it's earned like that. But I mean, he's like a father to me, because in a time so I got out, and it wasn't like I wasn't broken or anything. I was still team guy. That was the problem.
Yeah, you still wanted to go. You still wanted to fight.
We can do a lot. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things that we do in the teams that there's a reason you do them in the teams. You don't do them in the civilian world. You don't do them.
It's impossible.
Right, possible.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. I'm not going to say it.
No, it's impossible. It's impossible because you can't. It doesn't translate. The culture of the teams does not translate into the civilian world.
Right. So, and I was hurt. Look, I was still working. Yeah. I mean, you remember I was on the road over 300 days, 322 days a year. I mean, I was stepping and fetching most of that time, man. Look, when the pain went away, I didn't have any problem. I would work through it and like that. But the problem was it zapped my head.
Right. And thank God for him and his wife to help you through that moment.
Okay, look, you're talking about our governor and first lady, our Lady Perry, okay?
Right.
That's huge to the state. I mean, we choose them. They live in that house. And I just want to be clear to all my fellow Texans out there. While I was living there, I in no way ever disrespected the house or dishonored the family or the
great state of Texas.
And Texas, when the heads of state were show up and I was there.
What's up?
Yeah, I knew. Okay, I was maybe once or twice. There was this one time.
When the head of Russia was over and I was in my undies.
Yeah, I'm like, who the hell are you? Well, who the hell are you?
Help everybody understand, man, that we need great people in our lives.
Okay, so look, people talk about me being behind him, being in the political world, and I do understand politics I very well. But when it came to that, and for me to stand behind him was just like we do in our community, right? I'm like, hey, I stand behind him, and I stand behind him because politics aside, which he did all these great things for Texas, okay? He is a good man.
He's a good, solid man.
He ran that state, ran for president, and then under that, the guidance of Lady Perry, I mean, she's a nurse.
Right.
That's just, common human just puts you together.
It's kindness.
Puts you on a path.
Empathy.
That's what it was, man. I mean, I just needed a way, or not a way, but focus my attention.
Right.
Well,
they gave it
guess
to
where I was? It was focused at the highest level.
Yep.
I mean,
by the people who were living in that focused state.
Yeah, our state chose these people and that's who I was focused by.
Right.
So I mean, I had the training of the United States government, and then the focus of the leadership
the governor
of Texas.
Yeah, and when you hear his story, it makes it no wonder why it was a great time in your life. Right?
Oh,
because
man, it's a piece by piece deal.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen overnight, right? You don't come back from adversity in a blink of an eye or anything. You got to stay true, and you got to hear the people around you, the influence. You got to let it settle in,
right.
And you got to let it influence you in a meaningful way.
He's not a politician. He was in politics for that amount of time, is the way I like to say it, because I've seen what's behind the curtain, man. I live there,
right?
And you need to talk to Melanie. Hear Melanie's when she first started having to. When I met her, I was like, I had
boss.
to. That's who she had to go meet.
Right. That's awesome.
Which was great. I mean, but
you got to meet my chaperones.
When he prays before every meal,
right?
Before we go to bed. I mean, before he goes to bed.
That prayer's a big deal.
And prays for the president. I mean, politics is a business, right?
Yes.
You can't look at, I mean, that's the way, look at it any way you want. Sport, business. I mean, watching the election this time, I was looking at those people and they are so excited. This is literally a sport.
Oh, it's a sport.
I mean, with coaches and teams and playing for it.
It's the biggest sport in the world.
This is really the first one I've paid close to. I mean, before this, man, we were busy.
We
just worked.
Yeah.
But now when you're starting to pay attention, you look back and just to see how, and because of all the chaos that we're having in this, it's a great learning environment.
Epic learning.
Right? You know what I mean?
About our country, about our history, about how politics
when
work.
you got somebody who can move in and out of both worlds, because that's what he does.
Right.
And I mean, when I was at the house, or if I was anywhere with him, it wasn't talking about, if he wasn't working, we weren't talking about work.
Right.
You have that person.
Was he mentoring
my
you?
Point was, oh yeah.
Yeah.
My point is that that you got somebody who came up in the place or in the ways they're trying to implement, because when they're not at work.
Right.
He's just a good dude when he's not at work. He's trying to help. He grew up on a cotton farm with nothing, worked his way up, and I mean,
was a pilot.
Yeah,
he was
a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout,
right? Went to, where did he go to school? He went to
don't screw that one up, dude. He's Aggie swagger.
Aggie swagger all day long.
We do have
my AOIC in my first platoon was an Aggie.
Who was it?
Landry.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot of them, right?
There's a lot of them.
Let me tell you something. They're a unique Texan. Okay, we like to say out here we have. You got an East Texas boy and a West Texas. And goes, all right. So we do have a type of Texan called an Aggie. All right, it is an actual Texan. Okay, they swagger different, talk different, and get fired up. I mean, they're awesome. It's so much fun because you run into Aggies, because when I open my mouth, people automatically, that means it's pretty clear where I'm from. And then
there is no doubt. Yeah,
right? Well, all my family are Aggies. And then we have some Longhorns. We got some Bears, a couple of Cougars, a few Bearcats. I mean, we got, it's a Well, a kennel, right? A zoo. That's what this place is. It's the zoo, baby. Oh my God!
Texas is this.
We got everything here, including an Aggie,
Including pride, including commitment,
dude,
including
bravery, truth, loyalty. That's across our. It's one of them deals. You're so proud, you're so dang proud in your people that makes you proud in your state. And that makes you proud where you come from. And look,
pride in yourself,
right? I love our commercials growing up, man. Like the "Don't mess with Texas, don't litter on our." Apparently, we had some people who throwing trash out of the windows. I seem to remember my father doing that quite a bit. You can tell he ate a cheeseburger and just wrapping up that was back when the baby seats were in the floorboards.
Literally in the floorboards.
Yeah, because we were laying in the floorboard. There was no baby seats.
I was like, baby, what?
Yeah, right?
We were in the back of the station wagon, right? In the back seat.
No, we don't station wagon. We had trucks here.
South Florida, Midwest.
Those panel station wagons are awesome.
That's it.
Anyways,
so
what are we talking about?
Governor Perry, the influence. I know that, man. The influence.
Wizard, hold on. This is fun. This is a good one, man. So yeah, the influence is growing up and the pattern, right? We talked about that, man. It's that faith, family, community. Get into your community and meet the other people around there, going to the universities and doing. There's a reason why that everyone considers that the productive process, right? Because it produces productive people. Right. You have to be productive to do it, and then when you get out, it's ingrained in you to be that. And when you see the people who, now granted, I'm sure there's some people who take this as like, I need a Cub Scout, Boy Scout, Weebelo, and this guy. I mean, those are probably serial killers. The point I'm trying to make is you don't have to do all of them. Yeah. But if you pick one that is
meaningful and purposeful.
Yeah, to get out there and take the step, right? Stand up and get out there and do it, man.
Take the step.
Bodies that. Stepped up when his country, was at war.
He does. And hopefully that you're listening.
And then through all of that, opened himself up to, he didn't know who I was, man. That's not how that went down.
Right.
I mean, he started showing me this kindness before any of that.
Right.
And I mean, remember, my name wasn't out there.
Right.
All I just got a metal pin on my chest that nobody knew about yet.
Right.
So when all this started happening, he opened it up, man. I was just a busted up frogman. Busted up. And remember, because I got hurt when we got back from Ramadi, man, I was out.
Yeah.
And I just showed up and was like, howdy. I'm here.
And he took you in, man. And that says a lot about
I was just waiting for
the
memoirs to come out about our time and be like, dude, this 6'5", 280-pound tattooed monster walked through the front gate, and we were so damn scared he wouldn't leave. And we just had to get to know. I'm just waiting for that. They're still so worried about me flipping my mind out through combat trauma. He's going to lose his mind. I was combat trauma.
You are combat trauma.
Man, there's so many times I was just hilarious the way they had to look out for me and just keep me on. I mean, it had to be hilarious for them sometimes.
Well,
epically hilarious for that to happen because the whole family is wonderful.
Right.
Sydney's like a sister to me, and Griffin is probably one of the smartest guys I know. I mean, hell, that ought to tell you something right there about who they are. Look at those kids.
Look at the kids.
Yeah, Sydney Perry is beautiful and smart, and she's an Aggie. Griff is highly intelligent. I mean, I think he might be already done. He's kind of due for retirement. He's smart. He's got his daddy's swagger too. He's just an awesome family, man. And the jokes, once Sydney, man, she adopted me as her brother. I became like the watchdog.
That's cool,
right?
You
and
looked
just
over
she's
the
married.
Flock, yeah.
Oh, brother.
You looked over the flock.
Pitbull on a leash, jerking off out of attack, that kind of deal. They never did. They were, maybe it was. No, but hell, she's marrying a team guy.
Well, good for her.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen,
is that a good idea?
Yes, it is. I mean, obviously, they wouldn't have you in their life.
I'm just kidding, man. That was a shot at him because he's an officer.
Well, I want to thank Governor Perry for what he did for you, bro. But and the most important thing, I want to thank him for coming on again. I mean, and if you're really excited about what you heard today with our interview with Governor Perry, please don't hesitate to go to our website at theteamneverquit.com/podcast. go to the After Actions report and listen to the Governor Perry's After Actions. Listen to the how-to as he applies his never quit mindset in his life day in and day out. And thank you for coming on board. You know, if you want more information, you want to help spread the word of the Never Quit Mindset and the Never Quit Podcast, please take our podcast, our website at tnqpodcast.com, share it with your friends, follow us on social media. We're on all the different social media platforms, but really get out there and listen to the shows. I mean, stop yourself, stop your life, stop for a minute and listen to what's coming out of our mouths. We have a good time. We like to be positive, but in its core, what we're helping you understand to do is to ignite that fire in your gut and to get up off your butt and get out there and feel life as it should be felt. So you too can ignite and really live and have that great never quit your story yourself. Remember, our motto here is great stories ignite legends. So to wrap it up on my end, I just want to thank God. I want to thank my family, my friends, my teammates. I want to thank you, Marcus, Wizard, all the people at Team Never Quit, my children. And most importantly, I want to thank those people who have influenced me, those direct mentors in my life, because without you, I certainly wouldn't be here today. Marcus?
Thank God, man, for giving me all my abilities, my teammates and my friends for helping me find them, and the boss lady for marrying me and giving me the life I'm having now, and all you wonderful people out there stopping by and joining us. And just remember, man, through all of y'all and the stories of the people that we bring in here, we're connecting every ordinary human being through extraordinary stories. That's how many different ways can I say it? That's the new deal, right?
That's the new deal. That's all I got.
Right,
I'm out.
Never quit. Team Never Quit. Team Never Quit Radio.